All right, so this is our last online session lecture, and what I would like to do is, we're reading the article on social networking and how school principals view that from a hiring standpoint. But I think this article was written almost 2.5, 3 years ago, and today the landscape continues to change and evolve in ways that I think are difficult. The focus of that article was primarily on Facebook and some references even back to MySpace. And today we have Twitter and we have Pinterest and Instagram, which aren't even mentioned in this article as spaces. In addition, we have a culture that has started to embrace social networking in a particular way that I think also complicates the process even more. And that's what I've done here with what I have captured on my screen is here is the Perrysburg Schools website, and what you see is right there as an institution active within the social networking groups. And I can tell you right now, my kids attend Perrysburg School, and I follow the superintendent's Twitter feed because I know that school's closed from the superintendent's Twitter feed before my phone rings to tell me that school's closed for my kids. And that's happening. But this isn't just a suburban thing, right? So we think about Perrysburg as kind of a more affluent suburban kind of school district. Well, here's Cincinnati Public Schools website, and right below the superintendent's message, social network, right? Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they have their blog going as well. These are active links, and will take you to Cincinnati Public Schools Facebook page, and it's a space where they're promoting what they're doing. They're showing pictures of kids, they're talking about initiatives, they're talking about school board meetings. They're doing those kinds of things, right? Here they have their own app that we see there. But it's also small school districts. Otsego here in Wood County, another Wood County school district. About 2,200 kids, K through 12. Not a really big space, but Facebook and Twitter. And here's the Twitter feed. Right there on their web page, which they are engaging in these social networking prospects to connect and to inform families and parents, because it's moved out of this kind of unspoken space and into a very mainstream space. We see companies whose whole function and role is to help other companies have a social networking presence, an online social networking presence. So this becomes an interesting notion, because now we have school districts and school buildings and programs within school buildings. For example, I still follow, because I just haven't unfollowed them, but I follow the girls soccer team Twitter feed from the school that I was once principal of. So we have these really small, detailed spaces that are active in use of social networking. And so the reason why it becomes complicated is because we see social networking spaces being used for ways to communicate to families, ways for outside people to have a better understanding beyond just the website of what's happening in a particular school or school district. But then we have what we saw out of the article, in which we have individuals engaged in social networking spaces, and their personal behavior starting to impact their ability to be hired, impact their ability to maintain their job, and how we draw this balance. Here is my own personal take. I believe that if you tried to go to my Facebook page, which I have one, and I'm on there on a regular basis, I think what you would see would be very limited information because of the privacy settings that I've put onto my Facebook account. Now, obviously, a picture of me that shows up on one of your friends' accounts, I can't prevent you from seeing that. And that was a point made in the article. My Twitter account is wide open. You can go at PC Willis and see my Twitter account. You're welcome to follow me. I go through fits and starts of the amount of Twitter that I use, either my own viewing or my own posting to Twitter. I have an Instagram account primarily because my kids have Instagram accounts. Sometimes I do post pictures there. And based on some of the things that we've read in this article, there would be some school districts that would question hiring me because I may have a picture of some a trip, my trip to the Bourbon Trail. So there's some pictures of me drinking bourbon on my Instagram account. All of this to say, I think that there's a dual mix here, and a couple of pieces that I want to talk about. So the first piece that I want to talk about is having personal pages and having professional pages. So if you want to have students follow you on social media, in social networks, you need to, or parents for that matter, you need to establish your own separate professional social media sites. So you need a Facebook, if you want to use a Facebook account to talk about what's happening in your class, or a Twitter account to talk about what's happening in your class, and a way for parents to have information, you should set up a separate Twitter account that is only for your professional use and keep it separate. It has to stay separate. And you have to maintain only professional communications. If you would be unwilling to send it in an email to every parent that you have or could have, then you should not post it on that site. And then I think it's fine for you to have a private site separate from that. That is where your high school friends and your college friends and your adult friends and maybe your kids and their friends all have interactions in particular ways. But I think it's important to keep that separate. I think it's important for you to think about how you do or don't lock down your particular accounts. So let's have a little conversation about this other element, which is the use of these sites to make determinations or to influence the hiring practice. I have former students who I'm friends with in social media who at various times have changed their names on social media in order to gain a bit of invisibility. Right? So I have a former student who is currently finishing med school and applying for residency, and he has taken his last name off of his Facebook account and using his middle name as his last name, or his mom's maiden name as his last name, some other name. Now I see him because I'm friends with him, and I found him when he was still under his given last name, but he has chosen to try to create a little bit more invisibility because he knows that when he applies for residency, his social network contact will be examined. And he's got some pictures of him with his buddies in their 20s at each other's weddings, having some beverages or acting goofy or doing things that somebody might say isn't very doctor-like. But as a result, he's trying to cloak himself in that realm without being off of it. And that's a particular way to think about or go about it. I think from a teaching standpoint, I've always been of the notion that there's not a problem. I don't have a problem with a teacher being seen walking out of a bar. have a problem with a teacher being seen stumbling drunk out of a bar and vomiting in the gutter. Um, but as a person of age who chooses to go into an establishment and um, partake of a beverage or two, I've never had an issue with that. Um, I think the way in which we portray, so as a result, I don't know that I would have an issue with someone who was seen at a gathering and had an alcoholic beverage in their hand. I think within the article, some of the notions around language are interesting, and things that I think would cause me as an administrator to have pause. And so, how do you? I think things that you need to think about is how you engage with those kinds of discussions within your own school districts, what you see as becoming your kind of um, standard practice as an administrator in dealing with those kinds of issues, and thinking about the ways in which you create this balance between the fact that you have districts engaging in social media, right, and how you want or don't want your classroom teachers also engaging in the social media. So there's a discussion board talking about some of these things some more. Look forward to the responses, and we will see you soon.